$126,000. Located 10 minutes from Portland, Stonebrook and One Lake Place condominiums are positively the best values in Vancouver.
Tom Cruise's new movie, Prince William and Celebrity Millionaire, next, E.T.
Is a U.S. strike finally imminent? Indications tonight, military strikes against the Taliban could start at any moment. And that may be just the beginning. U.S. intelligence says the United States can expect still more terror attacks. The U.S. economic fallout worsens. Cities that depend on tourists are running out of luck. And a daily ritual in New York City, remembering the heroes of September 11th.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. U.S. machinery and manpower are very nearly fully in place tonight, awaiting orders from the Commander-in-Chief for the first American military strikes in the new World War. At the start, 3 countries in the heart of Central Asia are key. Afghanistan, where Osama bin Laden hides behind the Taliban army he helps to finance. Pakistan to the east, and in the north, Uzbekistan. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin has late details.
With transport planes standing by to begin airdrops of food into Afghanistan, and with combat troops, helicopters, and aircraft now arriving at this base in Uzbekistan, the United States tonight is in the final stages of preparing to launch military operations against Afghanistan. The Taliban rulers of Afghanistan are doing what they can to brace for the coming attack. Even though a rebel army is pushing further into Afghanistan from the north, the Taliban is pulling troops back from the northern front to defend the 2 strongholds of Kabul and Kandahar. The Taliban has also begun deploying its meager air defenses, including shoulder-fired Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, although U.S. intelligence rates the threat to American aircraft at only low to moderate. Despite the prospect of imminent attack from both the air and ground, there still appears to be some activity in at least a few of Osama bin Laden's training camps. One camp of particular interest to U.S. intelligence appeared at one time to house a mock-up of part of Los Angeles International Airport. The U.S. has plenty of firepower, from precision-guided bombs to elite commando units ready to go after those camps. But Defense Secretary Rumsfeld, at the end of a whirlwind tour of the Middle East and Central Asia, warned again tonight this is not the kind of enemy that will be easily or quickly defeated.
It will take time. The terrorists operate in the shadows. They do not have armies or navies or air forces that one can deal with.
But right now, time is running out, and U.S. officials say there is still no sign the Taliban are about to reverse position and hand over bin Laden. Dan?
David Martin at the Pentagon. After earlier visits to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and elsewhere in the Persian Gulf, Secretary Rumsfeld today made the most important stop of his trip to shore up the anti-terror coalition. Rumsfeld flew to Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan, which shares an 85-mile-long border with Afghanistan. CBS's Wyatt Andrews is traveling with the Defense Secretary.
Beginning a most unlikely alliance, Uzbek President Islam Karimov gave Defense Secretary Rumsfeld a yes to the stationing of U.S. forces, and added that the Uzbekis would not be tracking the Americans. We are not very much interested in what sort of air personnel will be deployed, he says. That is up to the discretion of the U.S. At any other time, this union would not have been possible. Just a month ago, before the terror bombings, the U.S. saw Karimov as a strongman ruler, known mostly for his brutal suppression of human rights. Now, however, the U.S. is building a war coalition, and Karimov just made partner. What the 2 countries do share is a common enemy in Osama bin Laden. Groups linked to bin Laden set numerous terror bombs in Tashkent over several years. When President Bush called for nations to join this war, the Uzbeks were almost first in line. In the course of these 3 years, he says, Uzbekistan has been witnessing the face of terrorism. Therefore, we cannot afford standing aside. What Uzbekistan wants in exchange for the base isn't clear, but both the president and the secretary said no side promises were exchanged. By tonight, American troops will be on duty in a republic of the former Soviet Union, and most of the military pieces in what Rumsfeld calls a 3D form of chess will be placed. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Tashkent, Uzbekistan.
Like Secretary Rumsfeld, Britain's Prime Minister Tony Blair has become a high-profile point man for the anti-terror coalition. Today, as CBS's Richard Roth reports, Blair went into Pakistan, whose government helped create the Taliban, but now says it supports the U.S.-led campaign that could bring the Taliban down.
Blair came here calling Pakistan vital. It matters less now that the government here enraged the West by testing nuclear weapons or that it came to power in a coup. Pakistan is the only Muslim nation to publicly promise military support for the war on terror. And for that, President Musharraf won a pledge from the West.
We've agreed that if the current Taliban regime fails to yield up bin Laden, and it falls, then its successor must be broad-based, with every key ethnic grouping represented.
Pakistan's worried if the united front of Afghan fighters dominates a new government in Afghanistan, it'll have an enemy for a neighbor. The other worry here is the enemy within. There's seething anger over the government's support for an impending attack in a Muslim country. The war may not be against Islam, but Islamic clerics here don't believe it. Pakistani officials say they're still confident they can manage the dissent, as long as whatever military action is launched in Afghanistan is decisive and quick. A newly released videotape of Osama bin Laden and his most wanted deputies couldn't have been reassuring. By issuing it now, says a man who knows bin Laden, the fugitives have sent a message of defiance.
They are working together, and they are in Afghanistan, which is a very important message for their followers.
And a message no less important for their pursuers. Richard Roth, CBS News, Islamabad.
To press the war on terrorism, President Bush and the United States need working relationships with these shaky new allies while they maintain ties to longtime friends like Israel. But as Chief White House correspondent John Roberts reports, Israel's prime minister chose to test that friendship, criticized the United States at a very sensitive time.
It was the diplomatic equivalent of a slap in the face. Ariel Sharon publicly attacking President Bush's efforts to build a coalition of Arab states against terrorism.
Do not try to appease the Arabs on our expense. This is unacceptable to us. Israel will not be Czechoslovakia.
The statement angered President Bush. Sharon was comparing him to British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, who in 1938 allowed Hitler to take over part of Czechoslovakia to appease the Nazi leader. Secretary of State Powell last night rebuked Sharon over the telephone. Through his spokesman, Mr. Bush today condemned the remarks.
And the president believes that these remarks are unacceptable. Israel can have no better or stronger friend than the United States, and better friend than President Bush.
The president has leaned on Israel and the Palestinians to keep the peace, while he enlists the help of Arab countries to wage war against terrorists. But after a Palestinian gunman shot dead 3 Israelis, Sharon declared a shaky ceasefire dead, and today launched more attacks against Palestinians in the West Bank. Israel has also renewed its campaign to assassinate suspected terrorists. Former Mideast envoy Dennis Ross today said Sharon's comments were a colossal misjudgment, but adds he faces understandable pressures at home.
He was, in his own way, trying to send a message: don't discount us. In your pursuit of a coalition, don't ignore the fact that there are terrorists here that we have to deal with on a daily basis.
However ill-timed and ill-advised Sharon's comments may have been, President Bush is in a difficult position. He has declared war on terrorism, yet he cannot go after groups that target Israel for fear of losing Arab coalition partners. Dan?
John Roberts at the White House. In that war on terrorism, U.S. officials believe that enemy forces will almost certainly strike again. CBS's Jim Stewart has the latest assessment of the threat.
U.S. intelligence officials confirmed today what they have privately been telling Congress about all week, that more attacks like September 11th remain a real possibility. Some in Congress were reportedly told it's virtually a 100% possibility.
Well, I'm not going to comment on any classified information, but I think it's common knowledge publicly that there is the potential of another attack.
Others were more blunt.
There will be more attempts by terrorists to attack us in this country or attack our people or assets somewhere else.
Officials said they have been steadily picking up tips about new attacks since September the 11th. Targets include well-known landmark buildings and national symbols here and abroad. Some threats specifically mention U.S. military forces. No specific date for an attack has been detected, but several threats appear to be timed to follow the first U.S. retaliatory attack. Meanwhile, more detail was released today on the final hours of hijackers Abdulaziz Al-Amari and ringleader Mohammed Atta. A search warrant was unsealed in Maine, revealing the contents of their rental car and luggage that never made the flight. In the luggage, Atta left behind a death certificate with specific instructions on what to do with his remains. While in the car, there was nothing special, just some maps, used tissues, and remnants of their last meal, a bag of Chips Ahoy cookies. U.S. intelligence officials were somewhat taken aback by the stir their warnings caused, pointing out that the threat level will likely remain just as high for months to come. The problem is, they pointed out, that no country can stay on high alert forever. And Osama bin Laden has shown a perfect sense of timing whenever we let our guard down. Dan?
In Washington, Jim Stewart. President Bush this week called for as much as $75 billion in new tax cuts to what he calls revive the economy, and today he gave details. The president wants the tax rate reductions that Congress approved earlier this year to come sooner now. New low and middle income tax breaks that could mean a cut in Social Security payroll taxes and new tax breaks for business. The president says his hope is the tax cutting will help create jobs. The government says that even as the unemployment rate held steady last month at just under 5%, the economy lost 200,000 jobs. Sandra Hughes reports from a city that's down on its luck.
Las Vegas is racking up $30 million a day in economic losses. In a place where almost half the visitors arrive by plane, the slowdown in air travel is devastating. Unemployment has doubled.
We are in a position of barely just seeing what bills can be paid.
Carol Cassidy is laid off from her job at a company that checks in and shuttles baggage between hotels in the Las Vegas airport. The business had just taken off when, for security reasons, the FAA grounded it.
Since September 11th, we haven't checked in one passenger. The suspension forced us to lay off our entire field staff.
It's so bad here in Las Vegas, the city's newest hotel and casino, the Aladdin, is facing foreclosure and the repossession of its slot machines. The already troubled $1.2 billion facility couldn't absorb the losses of the last few weeks and filed for bankruptcy protection. Even harder hit Anaheim, California, home of Disneyland. The city may lose 150,000 convention visitors as a result of the economic downturn. 12,000 Los Angeles airport employees were laid off, including Miguel Mata, who worked at a restaurant.
If I don't have a job, so everything goes down at my home, you know.
Today's unemployment figures don't count the 200,000 airline and travel layoffs since the terror attacks.
The statistical mills grind very, very slowly, and so it's going to be a couple of months before we get the full impact.
Though the federal government has proposed a limited bailout, experts warn more than a dozen states have inadequate unemployment funds to handle a sustained economic downturn. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Las Vegas.
Ukraine's prime minister reluctantly conceded today it is possible his country's military accidentally shot down the Russian jetliner that crashed yesterday. Parts of the shattered plane were recovered from the Black Sea today, along with 14 bodies. The plane carrying 78 people crashed during a flight from Israel to Siberia. Next year on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America, the special medical unit that's giving new life to the worst of the wounded from the attack on America.
It seems like only yesterday. When I started skating at 8 years old, I never thought I'd experience the thrill of winning a medal. With all the great memories has come another thing I thought I'd never experience, the pain of osteoarthritis.
Vioxx is here, a prescription medicine for osteoarthritis pain. With one little pill a day, Vioxx can provide powerful 24-hour relief. Vioxx specifically targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. People with allergic reactions such as asthma to aspirin or other arthritis medicines should not take Vioxx. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. For more information, talk to your doctor about once daily Vioxx for the relief of osteoarthritis pain.
Perhaps my biggest victory is to be able to plan my day around my life. instead of my pain.
Ask your doctor if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx, for everyday victories.
Why do I eat healthy choice? Sesame chicken, beef tips portobello,
chicken parmesan. Why?
Why?
Because it tastes great. Why?
Because my body
needs balanced nutrition. Why do I eat healthy choice?
Why do I eat healthy choice?
Why?
That's why.
That's why.
That's why.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
Tonight's Eye on America is a hard news, up-to-the-minute look at American medicine at its best, helping the most seriously wounded, and there are a lot of them, from the attack on the World Trade Center. CBS News medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon takes you inside the nation's busiest burn treatment unit, where rubble and ruin turn to revival and survival.
As crews continue what seems to be a never-ending task of sorting through rubble and destruction, there are signs of lives being rebuilt. Manu Dhingra, a severely burned World Trade Center survivor, was released from the hospital this week.
I thought I lost everything.
Like so many unsuspecting people on that morning of September 11th, Dhingra was just stepping off the elevator on the 83rd floor when his life changed course in an instant.
Suddenly I just heard an explosion, and before I knew it, from the side and the back, I was just engulfed in a big ball of fire.
With burns over 40 to 50% of his body, he was rushed to the burn unit at the Weill Cornell Medical Center. 22 of the most severely burned survivors were brought here. As the busiest burn unit in the nation, the staff here is used to stress, but Director Roger Yurt describes those days as a blur.
And really, there was just so much work going on, patient after patient coming in, that we didn't have time to think.
Caring for burn victims requires special skills and round-the-clock care to stave off shock, infection, pneumonia, and excruciating pain that comes with the injuries.
The patients with the biggest injuries had 80–90% of their body burned.
Half are still clinging to life. Dr. Yurt alone is performing 3 skin graft surgeries a day in the hopes of seeing someone else walk out the front door soon.
Mary. Hi. Hi, how are you?
Mary Joss hopes to be next.
I have 3rd-degree burns on my back. This is burned. I had shrapnel, which took out part of this arm, all right, and shrapnel in the leg. I've had stitches on my head and on the bottom of my feet.
An employee of the state tax department, 2 years away from retirement, Mary says she owes her future to the burn unit and to a stranger named Eric, who helped her down 77 flights of stairs to waiting paramedics.
Yeah, I look forward to the future. I look forward to getting on with my life and living my life. And I can't wait.
Welcome dreams of tomorrows from those so close to having none. In New York, I'm Elizabeth Caledon for Eye on America.
The Florida man who contracted a rare case of anthrax disease died today in the hospital. Medical detectives have searched his home and other areas trying to pinpoint a source for the bacteria. No other anthrax cases have been reported. Officials stress there is no public health threat and no sign of bioterror. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, a final salute for a fallen brother.
Mom, how many Tums did you take right in front of the wedding planner?
You snuck one too.
it was a Pepsid Complete. It works fast like Tums, but it lasts for hours like Pepsid AC.
Chewable? Calcium? I gotta try this.
Decisions?
Pepsid
Complete. Just one, and heartburn's done.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cause you heard the design as I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying, come back and see me. Yesterday, you've forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry. It's the finest of the flavors. And to see the showcase and you know the vertigo is at my door. It's a banger, it's your life to sign a waiver. I have a tendency to wear my mind up my sleeve. I had this dream. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Dropped your hands to the sides and said I'm sorry.
You're not bigger. They're smaller. Mini Oreo.
My business is more than just a business to me. It's my passion. So when my doctor told me I have asthma, I went to cbshealthwatch.com. One click on Smart Search gives me exactly what I need to know about controlling my asthma, from medications to new treatments. With CBS Health Watch, I spend less time searching and more time doing the things I love.
Save time, get answers. Visit cbshealthwatch.com.
It was my grandson's birthday. He just turned 3. We're going to move him out of his crib and buy him a big boy bed. I was on chemo then, and I was exhausted.
Grandpa.
I said to the doctor, I need help. I'm on a mission.
If you're a chemotherapy patient and feel tired and weak, you may be anemic. Ask your doctor about Procrit. Procrit is a natural way to regain red blood cells lost during chemotherapy. And more red blood cells can mean more strength.
Oh, this is a great one. This is a good one.
Procrit is proven and safe. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Procrit is for patients with non-myeloid cancers.
How do you like it up here now?
Good.
Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need.
See? What'd I tell you?
Your strength for living.
He takes a lot of energy, but I never get tired of him.
How did one Wall Street firm dig itself out of the rubble and start all over again? They knew who they were, and they knew what they had to do. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
One of the most respected public servants of American politics died today in Washington. Mike Mansfield worked his way out of the copper mines of Montana and spent 50 years as a leading Democrat. He served longer than anyone else in 2 jobs, first as U.S. Senate Majority Leader and later as U.S. Ambassador to Japan. Mike Mansfield was 98. It's become a ritual now as a city and a nation mourns. Innocent victims, heroic rescue workers are remembered and laid to rest day after day after day. CBS's Byron Pitts reports under the heading, Lest We Forget.
For firefighters and police officers in New York City, it has been another week of duty and death. Just today alone, 17 funerals or memorial services for men who answered the call. Thursday, there were 6 such services, including the funeral of Fire Captain Terry Hatton.
He was just a true fire officer, a true leader. He was a great role model for anybody who wanted to be a firefighter.
Hatton did not know his wife, now his widow, was pregnant with their first child. There are so many sad stories, but with so many still missing, there are sad stories still untold.
We are going to have funerals and memorial services for a long time. So on any given day, everybody should be prepared to cry and to laugh and to keep life going on.
And life goes on at what rescue workers call the pile, a place that has become both a crime scene and a chapel.
We came across 3 bodies.
Volunteer Frank Salecchia made the discovery. It was not the miracle all had hoped for, but many see it as a miracle nonetheless. A giant cross, 2 steel beams found buried beneath the rubble.
Terrorism left a terrible mark on us, and God prevailed through all of it. Our faith is letting us see that.
Faith and funerals, both have been called upon so many times. 17 today, 20 more tomorrow. Byron Pitts, CBS News, New York.
I started having hot flashes and night sweats at menopause, my doctor recommended hormone replacement therapy, but I didn't listen.
Up to 20% of a woman's expected lifetime bone loss occurs in the years following menopause.
A year later, I went back to my doctor and found I'd shrunk an inch. I went on HRT, and I've been on it for years. My hot flashes and night sweats, gone. I feel great.
HRT is not for all women. Talk to your doctor about the benefits and risks.
The time to protect your future is now.
Morning, guys.
Hi.
Hey, morning. Like to see how your cereals stack up the total?
Go ahead.
To get the iron in 1 bowl of Total, you'll have to eat 2 bowls of cornflakes. For folic acid, try 4 bowls.
And a really big spoon.
Want zinc? 10 bowls for you.
What's so funny? Nothing.
Nice bowls.
Total has 100% of 11 vitamins and minerals in just 1 bowl.
We'll take the Total. Sure. Give Junior the check. What?
Total, 1 bowl, 100%. Look for savings on Total in Sunday's paper.
Time to relax. What a time for bad heartburn. Try Extra Strength Mylanta. It works on tough nighttime heartburn fast. So go ahead, relax, if you can. Extra Strength Mylanta.
I'm starving. Want some chicken and stars? Condensed soup? We're big girls now. There's a better tasting soup. Progresso chicken noodle. All white meat chicken, bigger veggies. See the difference? This tastes better.
It's time to go to the better taste, the Progresso.
Okay, I'm here. Good. I just wanted to make sure that the new computers are ready to ship.
They're ready.
And they're loaded with the latest operating system?
They're loaded.
Shh. And your store guys are ready to teach people all the stuff they can do?
They're all set.
You know, Ted, you're lucky to have a cow for a best friend. Dogs are so overrated.
A remarkable find at the World Trade Center site, 2 pieces of steel welded by the explosion into a cross. The very latest at the top of the hour at 6.
We close this week in the war with a look at the new, more deliberate pace Americans are adjusting to in their own defense. Lines can be long and slow-moving at Boston's Logan Airport and other terminals around the country, and at the front of those lines are armed soldiers, National Guard troops on duty. Security is also tight at Seattle's baseball stadium and other ballparks on this last weekend of baseball's regular season. But the only thing San Francisco Giants slugger Barry Bonds hopes to secure is a new home run record. Last night, Bonds hit his 70th homer of the season, tying Mark McGwire's record. He has 3 games to break it. And that's part of our world tonight. Bob Schief will be along Sunday morning with Face the Nation. And now here's Susan Spencer with a preview of tonight's 48 Hours.
Facing the fear of an attack with biological weapons. This doctor says your government can't protect you, but he can.
None of the doctors are really prepared for this.
Later on 48 Hours.
Later is 10 o'clock, 9 Central for 48 Hours. We hope you'll join us then and right here Monday for the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting from New York. See you soon on 48 Hours.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online at keyword CBS News.